Jacob's grandmother gave him a dragon stone, and his entire world changed. The ground trembled violently, furniture rattled, and pictures crashed to the floor. Deep earthquake rumbles filled the air. Jacob, 16 and wide-eyed, stumbled through the shaking room. The earthquake had struck without warning, transforming a regular day into something extraordinary. One moment, Jacob was just a normal teenager. The next, well, his whole world was about to get seriously weird. Jacob burst into his grandmother's room, finding her already alert, clutching something tightly. "Grandma, are you okay?" Jacob called out, worry clear in his voice. "Jacob, thank goodness you're here." "Quick, come here," his grandmother responded urgently. "We should get outside, Grandma. It's not safe." Jacob began, but his grandmother cut him off. "There's no time. They're coming." Jacob's grandmother pressed a crystal stone into Jacob's hands. The stone pulsed with an inner light, seeming almost alive. "This isn't just a stone," her eyes told him. "This is your life." Her words carried the weight of generations. She gripped his arm. "Your parents trusted us to protect something greater than ourselves. Whatever happens, don't let anyone take them from you. Promise me," she insisted, her voice wavering. "What's going on?" "My parents? But they're away on business. They haven't visited in months," Jacob replied, confused. Grandma's eyes were filled with tears. "There's so much you don't know, my dear boy. So much they wanted to protect you from." "Protect me from?" Jacob asked. Suddenly, all the earthquake sounds stopped abruptly. Dust particles hung in the air. Everything froze for a moment. In that moment, the world around Jacob began to shift. Something far more extraordinary was just beginning. Suddenly, the stone burnt in Jacob's palm, fusing to his skin. Blinding light engulfed the room, and Jacob collapsed. Images flashed in Jacob's mind, his hand pulsing with energy. Glimpses of dragon battles, mysterious dark figures moving through streets. Ancient-sounding whispers filled his wisdom. The truth was far more complex than Jacob could imagine. His dreams were no longer just dreams. They were memories. They were warnings. When he finally opened his eyes, the room was filled with scorch marks. Whatever surface he had touched had burned holes, and strange marks started forming around his hand, and suddenly it lit up. Tension filled the air. Jacob's grandmother, weathered but sharp-eyed, watched Jacob carefully as he moved about the kitchen. Grandmothers see everything, even the things you try hardest to hide. Jacob rolled down his sleeve, hiding the mark on his hand. But she saw. She always saw. The stone was showing him things, impossible things, dangerous things. "Grandma, what's happening to me?" Jacob asked, his voice trembling slightly. "The stone is sinking," she replied matter-of-factly. "With what?" Jacob exclaimed. "With you," she answered simply. That's when Jacob's grandma told him the truth. "You weren't just chosen, Jacob. You were descended from a bloodline that once held the balance between dragonkind and mortals. And the stone was their relic, their judge, their weapon." A tremor shook the house. Dishes rattled. A family photo fell. The earthquakes had become more frequent. But Jacob was beginning to understand. They were more than natural phenomena. The next day at school, students walked around like everything was normal. And then he saw her. The new girl everyone was talking about, Sophie. Something about her felt familiar. Jacob and Sophie's eyes met across the crowded corridor. Jacob tried to act normal, but he couldn't stop staring at his hand. Beneath the bandages, he could feel it pulsing, alive. Sophie sat alone at a corner table. Her silver hair caught the light differently, almost too perfectly. Jacob approached her table, his curiosity burning stronger than the mark on his hand. "Mind if I sit?" Jacob asked, attempting to sound casual. "You're not ready for what's coming," Sophie replied immediately. Jacob's mouth went dry. "What did you just say?" he muttered. "Nothing," she responded, turning and walking away. But Jacob knew what he'd heard. The next time Jacob saw Sophie, he confronted her. "Tell me the truth. You knew about the stone. You knew about me." "I was sent to find the one the stone awakened. I didn't know it would be you," Sophie admitted. "What does that even mean?" Jacob pressed. "It means that your life isn't yours anymore. It never was," she replied mysteriously. When his hands accidentally touched Sophie's, Jacob's mark began to glow softly, almost invisibly. A momentary energy pulse passed between their nearly touching hands. "What's happening to me?" Jacob asked, panic evident in his voice. "First contact, recognition," Sophie whispered. "They're watching, always watching." "Who's watching?" Jacob demanded. "More than you're ready to know, Jacob," Sophie replied enigmatically. Sophie started to walk away. Jacob grabbed her arm. "Wait!" Jacob called out. "Don't touch me," Sophie warned. But when Jacob's hand connected with her arm, another surge of energy passed between them. For a split second, Jacob saw flashes, memories of fire, of flight, of a throne made of bone, of a girl who kissed him before disappearing into flames. And that girl was Sophie. But Sophie hadn't told Jacob everything. She didn't tell him about the curse that came with the stone. But it was already too late. The stone had chosen, and it had chosen Jacob. Images flashed through Jacob's mind, a battlefield of dragons, Sophie falling through the sky, Sophie and Jacob kissing. Sophie yanked her arm away, breathing hard. Not here, not now. Sophie said, visibly shaken. Sophie vanished again, leaving Jacob stunned and confused. Later that day, Jacob entered his grandmother's study. The room was a treasure trove of mystery. His grandmother moved as if she was packing for a journey, selecting specific items. A charcoal-handled dagger, a leather-bound journal with strange markings, a wooden box that pulsed with inner light. "We need to leave. They're getting closer," Grandma urged. "Who? The Dark Dragon clan?" Jacob asked. "How do you know about them?" Grandma asked, surprised. "I've been remembering things I never knew," Jacob explained. Jacob showed her his palm where the symbol continued to pulse. "The stone is showing me." Grandma took his hand, examining the mark. "The Dragonstone has chosen you as its vessel, just as it once chose your parents." "My parents?" Jacob asked incredulously. "Your parents are members of the White Dragon clan. They're guardians of the Dragonstone, the core of a dragon, without which a dragon would not survive," Grandma explained. "But why hide everything for so long?" Jacob asked, frustration evident in his voice. "The Dark Dragons can sense awareness. As long as you believed you were human, they were not able to track you. Your parents wanted to tell you everything when you turned 18, but the stone sensed the threat and chose to awaken early." The revelation hit Jacob like a wave. "But I'm not fully human, am I?" Jacob asked, already knowing the answer. "No, the white dragon blood runs thin in you, but it's there," Grandma confirmed. A loud crash from outside interrupted them. Dark clouds gathered unnaturally fast. "They found us. We need to go," Grandma whispered urgently. As they rushed out, the sky split open. Jacob clutched his burning palm, the symbol now glowing visibly through his skin. The dragonstone in her hand pulsed. The mark on Jacob's hand responded. Something ancient was waking up, and it was hungry. Dark storm clouds gathered. Strange, fluid shadows moved between buildings, human-like, but somehow wrong. Jacob walked around, staring at the strange new world. An hour later, Jacob stepped out of the house and stood still, watching the world change around him. Something was happening, something impossible. Just then, Sophie was running towards them, her silver hair streaming behind her. "Dark Dragon Scouts, they're closing in," Sophie warned. "Why should I trust you? What side are you on, Sophie?" Jacob demanded. "I'm on your side, Jacob. Always have been. That kiss you dreamt of was real. And it was a transfer," Sophie insisted. "A transfer of what?" Jacob asked. "Power, ancient magic. Dragon souls can split, transfer, merge," Sophie explained, as she touched her chest where something seemed to be missing. "When I fell from the sky that day, I was fleeing the dark dragons. Our kiss quickened your awakening. Jacob, listen to me. Sophie is right," Grandma interjected. "I'm not leaving you, Grandma," Jacob protested. "You must. The stone has awakened in you. You need to learn how to control it, or it will consume you. Sophie can help," Grandma insisted. "Please, Jacob, trust me," Sophie pleaded. "The prediction speaks of two halves of one soul, separated by blood but joined by fate. Find the White Clan. Find your parents," Grandma instructed. Sophie grabbed Jacob's hand, the one with the mark, and a jolt of energy passed between them. When his vision cleared, the world looked different, sharper, brighter. "What was that?" Jacob asked, surprised. "The joining, it's begun," Sophie replied seriously. Above them, the clouds parted to reveal a massive dragon with scales that absorbed all light, its eyes burning like twin suns. "Run!" Grandma shouted. Jacob and Sophie ran. The Dark Dragon Scouts closed in. Fire erupted around them. "What happens if they catch us?" Jacob asked as they fled. "They'll take the stone, and to do that, they'll have to kill you," Sophie replied grimly. Then, something impossible happened. The mark spread, covering Jacob's entire arm in glowing patterns. From Sophie's back, ghostly wings began to form, light but growing more solid with each stride. "What's happening to us?" Jacob asked, awe and fear mingling in his voice. "What was always meant to happen. We're becoming what we truly are." "Welcome to a new world, Jacob," Sophie replied. As they raced through the streets, Jacob realized that everything he thought he knew about himself had been a lie. A massive dragon shadow passed overhead. The ground trembled. Buildings around them simply melted, and flames twisted into snake-like shapes. Overhead, the massive dragon watched, not flying, only existing between moments. Its eyes were tracking Jacob and Sophie's escape. "We're breaking through!" Sophie shouted over the chaos. The ground beneath them split. Not a simple earthquake, but a dimensional fracture. Suddenly, complete silence fell. Jacob sensed that the truth was far more terrifying than any dragon could ever be. Just yesterday, he was an ordinary teenager, and now he was turning into something not human. And to stay alive, he needed to transform quickly. As the dark dragon closes in, Jacob's arm transforms. He turns and roars, a sound no human could make. Sophie watches in awe. "It's happening," she whispers, "the first human-to-dragon transformation in 1,000 years." What will Jacob become when the transformation is complete? And will he still be himself when it's over?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.